Okay, I had to take my glasses off because if I have them on, you guys won't be able to see my eyes too well. So I'm taking them off. Now behind me, you'll see some of the images that I have printed. I'm a firm believer in any images that really please you, you should get them to a printer and have them printed. The one over here is actually an acrylic print, and I took an old photo frame that I got at any secondhand store. I repainted it black, and then I built a 2-inch frame around that, glued them together. And then the back cover, I actually ran some LED strip light to light up the image from inside. This should operate for 5 to 10 years, I would guess. The image up above that you can barely see, that went the wrong way. That was on the cover of our Iowa magazine. I'm really happy with that one. It's the only cover image that I've had. The image above my head here, that is of the Badlands. I woke up early one morning. This is just before sunrise. I just loved the way the clouds were, the colors of them, and the way the light was hitting the hills. The image down on my shoulder, that is Split Rock Lighthouse up in northern Minnesota at the North Shore right along Lake Superior. I just love the lighthouse. I've always been a fan of lighthouses, so I had that one printed. And I don't know why I always turn the gimbal the wrong way. To me, they're backwards. If I push down, it goes up. If I push up, it goes down. Now that is backwards. The image way up here, that is a place called Mossy Glen. It's a preserve in Iowa, eastern Iowa. It's a real rugged area to hike into. Well worth the effort, though. So I guess what my point is in this video is you should really print your images. Don't let them reside out there in the digital world. Share them on Instagram or Facebook and only, get a handful of likes, and that's where they die. You need to get them out there. You need to make them more permanent. Having them out in the web is not permanent. Something else I believe you should do if you find this to be an expensive hobby, which many of us do, you need to find some source of income from your images. If they're good enough, you'll generate some income and keep some gasoline in the tank, or buy a new lens or tripod, whatever it may be that you really need. My major source of income is this publication, Our Iowa Magazine. Most states should have a magazine that's similar to this. It's all about the state you live in. This is published bi-monthly. They send me a notice when they're ready for some images to be submitted. This is the current issue, and I just received this last weekend, and I had this full page image printed. I received $250 for this image. They pay $300 for a cover, $150 for a quarter page image, $100 for anything smaller than that. And they do have a 3-page centerfold that they will pay $500 for. Like I said, you aren't going to get rich, but it helps supplement the expenses, because this is an expensive hobby. I'm a little beyond the hobby stage now, to the semi-pro, I guess, if you would call it anything. I'm not a professional. I don't do this as my main source of income. However, I would love it if I could, but I don't foresee that happening. It's a real competitive market now. There's images everywhere. Everybody's a photographer. Everybody's got a camera on them. all day long. It's called a cell phone. I don't believe those images are near the quality that a high-end DSLR does, but give them time and the cell phone is going to be the camera. Along the lines of making money, one of the ways that a person can save some money is you don't need the latest and greatest. What I currently shoot with is this. It's a D800. It would have cost you $3,000 back in 2012. Now I just got this a year ago, December, and it only had 12,000 shutter clicks on it, and I got it for right around $900. It still does an excellent job. There's no issues with it. It's a real high quality. It's 37 megapixel, I believe. It might be a little more than that, but well worth the money. And you didn't have to spend $3,000 for the latest and greatest that is just going to take the same images. A little more history about myself. After I got out of the wildlife images, I did a lot of barns. In our neck of the woods, the barns are disappearing fast. Back in the mid-'80s when the farm crisis happened, there was a lot of farmers that went out of business, sold their farms, sold all their property, and the majority of these places were lived in for a short time, and if not at all. So these buildings are not being kept up, and I've probably shot 1,000 barns in my local area, and many of them have disappeared now. Today they're gone. After I got out of the barn images, I started shooting a lot more landscapes, did a lot of sunrises. I just love watching the sunrise. I get up early in the morning. Even in the summer, I'm out before the sun even comes up. I started getting into HDR photography 3 years ago, and I haven't changed since. A lot of people don't like HDR. They say they're overcooked images or what have you. You know, I say that it's just a matter of my personal preference. I prefer those images. It reminds me of watching the old Kodachrome slideshows that you used to see, you know, if you were in school or family vacations and things like that. The color is more saturated, and that's why I prefer HDR. Like I said, now for 3 years I've been doing HDR. I try not to overcook most things, is what they call overcooking. That's where you get more unrealistic views of the world. You know, the purple skies, but I prefer the saturation, and I don't want to spend a lot of time in the computer processing. So I use HDR machinery, and then I use Corel Paint Shop Pro to further process the HDR images, either giving them more fill light clarity or vibrancy. And that's about all the editing I do. It'll probably take me 10 to 15 minutes to process and post-process one image that I take. I don't believe in Paint Shop. I don't want to subscribe to a piece of software that I'm billed for every single month, and yet you're held to. If you forget to make a payment, your software no longer works. I just don't want those headaches. Corel is a real excellent photo editing tool, and you can get some pretty good bargains on that too. Just another way to save some money. Well, that, in a nutshell, is a little more about me. And people will say, well, what are you trying to show? How about, I just like seeing pretty images. Images that move me and touch me. And that's what I'm trying to do, and to present these to other people. And I'm hoping to get out tomorrow so I can actually have an outside vlog and The sun's actually shining today, so hopefully I'll have another video to share of when I'm out in the field. Thanks.